Picture a school janitor mopping a hallway, just doing his job, when a parent storms in, slaps him for being in her way, and screams he's ruining her day. Now imagine that janitor is actually the school principal in disguise, ready to turn the tables. This isn't just a story of a Karen losing it, it's a tale of justice at Lincoln High School, where one woman's outburst is about to backfire spectacularly. Have you ever seen a Karen lose it at a school? Share your wildest Karen story in the comments and guess how this one ends! It's 8:15 a.m. on a crisp Monday morning in suburban Ohio, and Lincoln High School is buzzing. The main hallway near the entrance is a chaotic symphony of sneakers squeaking, lockers slamming, and students shouting to be heard over the din. Parents weave through the crowd, some dropping off forgotten lunchboxes, others hurrying to early meetings. A bright yellow, wet floor sign stands like a sentinel near the glass doors, its warning ignored by the rush. Overhead, security cameras hum quietly, capturing every moment of the morning madness. At the center of it all is Mark Johnson, a 55-year-old principal who's more than just a suit behind a desk, a former Army veteran with a salt and pepper buzz cut and a calm, commanding presence. Mark is known for his hands-on leadership. He's the kind of principal who knows every student's name and every teacher's coffee order. But today, he's not in his usual blazer and tie. Instead, he's dressed in a plain gray janitor's uniform, pushing a mop and bucket across the tiled floor. It's a disguise he dons a few times a year, not to play spy, but to see the school through the eyes of its unsung heroes. Custodians, aides, cafeteria workers. It's his way of staying grounded, of understanding the pulse of Lincoln High from the ground up. The staff knows about his undercover stints, and most students do too, but to a distracted parent rushing through the halls, he's just another worker in the way. Mark dips his mop into the soapy water, his movements steady and practiced. The floor gleams under the fluorescent lights, but he's careful to keep the wet floor sign in place. He nods to a passing student, a sophomore named Jamal, who flashes a grin and says, "Morning, Mr. Janitor guy." Mark chuckles, his eyes crinkling. He's used to the kids playing along. For him, these moments are gold, chances to connect, to listen, to spot the small things that make a big difference in a school's culture. Enter Karen Mitchell, a 45-year-old parent who's all sharp edges and sharper words this morning. Dressed in a crisp blazer and pencil skirt, her blonde hair pulled into a tight bun, she strides through the entrance with her teenage daughter, Emily, trailing behind. Karen's heels click against the tiles, her phone pressed to her ear as she barks into it about a delayed client meeting. Emily, a junior with earbuds dangling from her neck, looks mortified, muttering, "Mom, can you keep it down?" Karen waves her off, her expression a mix of impatience and entitlement. She's the kind of parent every teacher dreads at conference time, demanding, quick to criticize, and utterly convinced the world revolves around her schedule. Today, she's on her way to a parent-teacher meeting about Emily's grades, and she's already running late, her mood as sour as the coffee she spilled in her car. Karen barely glances at the wet floor sign as she barrels forward, her focus on her phone. Mark, mopping a few feet away, notices her trajectory and pauses, resting his hands on the mop handle. He's seen parents like her before, stressed, distracted, ready to snap. He's ready to give her the benefit of the doubt, to assume she's just having a rough morning. But as Karen's eyes flick up and land on him, something shifts. Her gaze narrows and her lips purse, as if the sight of a janitor daring to clean during her precious drop-off time is a personal affront. The hallway hums with activity, but a storm is brewing. Students dart past, oblivious to the tension. A teacher, Miss Carter, lingers near a bulletin board, stapling flyers while stealing glances at Mark. She knows who he really is, and she's seen enough Karens in her 20 years of teaching to sense trouble. The cameras above keep rolling, their lenses fixed on the scene. The mop, the bucket, the sign, they're all in place, silent witnesses to what's about to unfold. In this ordinary school hallway on this ordinary Monday, the stage is set for an extraordinary clash. Karen's about to make a choice that will echo far beyond these walls, and Mark, the principal in disguise, is ready to show her that no one, not even a Karen, is above respect. Karen wasn't just in a hurry, she was ready to make someone pay for her bad morning. The main hallway of Lincoln High School is still a whirlwind at 8:20 a.m., with students weaving through the crowd and the wet floor sign glowing under the fluorescent lights. Mark Johnson, disguised as a janitor, grips his mop, his calm demeanor unshaken despite Karen Mitchell's glare burning a hole through him. Her phone call has ended, but her anger hasn't. She stuffs the phone into her purse, her heels clicking as she storms closer, nearly brushing against the yellow caution sign. Emily, her daughter, hangs back near the entrance, pretending to check her phone, her face flushed with secondhand embarrassment. Karen's morning has been a disaster: spilled coffee, a traffic jam, and now a parent-teacher meeting she's late for. But it's the sight of Mark mopping, his bucket sloshing softly, that pushes her over the edge. She takes a step and feels her heel skid slightly on the damp tiles. She catches herself, but her purse swings wildly, nearly toppling the wet floor sign. Her eyes blaze as she rounds on Mark. "What is this mess?" she snaps, her voice cutting through the hallway noise. "You're making the floor a hazard! Stop this right now!" Mark pauses, resting the mop handle against his shoulder. His army training keeps his voice steady, his tone polite but firm. "Ma'am, I'm cleaning for everyone's safety." The floor's wet, but it's clearly marked. He nods toward the wet floor sign standing just a foot away, its bold black letters impossible to miss. "Please step carefully." Karen's face reddens, her entitlement flaring like a match. "Don't lecture me," she hisses. "I'm late, and you're in my way. This is ridiculous." "Do your job somewhere else!" She gestures wildly, her manicured nails flashing. Mark holds her gaze unmoved. He's dealt with angry parents before, but there's a sharpness in Karen's tone that sets his instincts on edge. Still, he keeps his cool, hoping to de-escalate. "I understand you're in a rush," he says evenly. "But this hallway needs to be safe for the kids. I'll be done soon." That's when it happens. Karen, fueled by frustration and oblivious to the growing crowd, takes a step closer. Her hand shoots out, and before Mark can react, she slaps him hard across the cheek. The crack echoes in the hallway, silencing nearby chatter. "You're useless!" she shouts, her voice shrill. "Move, or I'll make sure you're fired." Emily gasps from the sidelines, covering her mouth, while a few students freeze, their backpacks half-zipped. Mark's head turns slightly from the impact, his cheek stinging, but he doesn't flinch. He straightens, his eyes narrowing as he processes the assault. For a moment, the hallway feels like a battlefield, and his military discipline kicks in. "Ma'am," he says, his voice low and deliberate, "that was unacceptable. You need to leave now." His words carry a quiet authority, but Karen, too caught up in her rage, doesn't notice. She scoffs, tossing her hair. "Leave. You're a lowly janitor. I'm reporting you to the principal for this mess." She jabs a finger at him, oblivious to the phones now pointed her way. A small crowd has gathered. Students clutching books, a couple of parents pausing mid-stride. Jamal, the sophomore who greeted Mark earlier, pulls out his phone, his thumb already tapping to record. "Yo, she just hit him," he whispers to a friend. Across the hall, Miss Carter, the teacher stapling flyers, watches with a mix of shock and amusement. She knows Mark's true identity and bites her lip to keep from intervening. Instead, she slips her phone from her pocket and texts the front office parent, causing a scene in the main hall. MJ involved. She tucks the phone away, her eyes flicking to Mark, trusting he's got this under control. The hallway is tense, the air thick with anticipation. The mop stands idle in its bucket, the wet floor sign unmoved, and the security cameras above capture every angle. Karen, oblivious to the growing audience, adjusts her blazer, convinced she's in the right. Students murmur, some giggling nervously, others whispering about the crazy lady. Emily slinks further back, wishing she could disappear. Mark, still composed, touches his cheek briefly, then drops his hand. He's not just a janitor in this moment. He's a principal weighing his next move. He knows the school's zero-tolerance policy on violence, and he knows the cameras are rolling. But he also knows Karen's about to dig her own grave. He meets her glare, his voice steady. "You've made a mistake," he says, just loud enough for the crowd to hear. "I suggest you walk away before this gets worse." Karen's slap echoed, but the real shock was yet to come. Karen's tantrum wasn't just bold. It was about to unravel her world. 5 minutes after the slap, the main hallway of Lincoln High School is a pressure cooker. The 80:25 a.m. bustle has slowed as students and staff form a loose semicircle around Karen Mitchell and Mark Johnson, the principal disguised as a janitor. The wet floor sign still stands near Mark's mop and bucket, its warning now a silent taunt to Karen's recklessness. Overhead, security cameras capturing the scene from multiple angles. The air hums with whispers, phone screens glowing as students record, their thumbs flying to share the drama. Karen, oblivious to the growing crowd, stands with her hands on her hips, her blazer slightly askew from her outburst. Her face is flushed, but she's doubling down, fueled by the certainty that she's untouchable. "This is outrageous," she declares, pointing at Mark, who's still rubbing his cheek lightly, his expression a mix of calm and steel. "You're endangering everyone with this slippery floor. I'm calling the school board right now." She fumbles in her purse for her phone, muttering about incompetence and firing this idiot. Emily, her daughter, has retreated to the edge of the crowd, her face buried in her hands, wishing the floor would swallow her whole. The crowd swells, students clutching binders, a few parents lingering after drop-off, and staff peering from classroom doors. Jamal, the sophomore recording on his phone, uploads a clip to X with the caption, "Parent just slapped the janitor at Lincoln High." The post is already racking up views. A parent named John, a burly dad in a flannel shirt, steps forward, his voice booming.
"Lady, you can't just hit someone!"
"What's wrong with you?" His words spark murmurs of agreement, but Karen waves him off, snapping, "Mind your own business. He's the problem, not me." Across the hall, Miss Carter, the teacher who texted the office, leans toward another teacher, Mr. Reyes, whispering, "That's Mark. He's letting her bury herself." Mr. Reyes, new to the school and unaware of Mark's undercover habit, raises an eyebrow but nods, sensing something big is brewing. Ms. Carter keeps her eyes on Mark, knowing he's in control but ready to step in if needed. The crowd's energy shifts, part outrage, part amusement, as Karen's defiance clashes with their growing disapproval. Mark, still in his janitor disguise, stands tall, his gray uniform slightly wrinkled but his authority unmistakable. He's not just reacting, he's strategizing, his army, honed instincts guiding him. He raises a hand, signaling for quiet, and speaks clearly, his voice cutting through the noise. "Mom, I've asked you to leave. Violence isn't tolerated here. If you don't go, there will be consequences." He reaches for the walkie-talkie clip to his belt, a small black device that feels like a trump card. "Security, main hallway," he says into it, his tone measured but firm. The crowd hushes, sensing a shift. Karen's eyes flicker to the walkie-talkie, a hint of unease breaking through her bravado, but she scoffs. "Security? For a janitor? You're pathetic." The students gasp, some giggling at her audacity. Jamal zooms in with his phone, muttering, "This is gold." A girl nearby whispers, "But she's gonna regret this." The hallway feels smaller now, the walls closing in on Karen as the crowd's judgment intensifies. The mop and bucket sit untouched, the wet floor sign a glaring reminder of her overreaction. Emily, still at the crowd's edge, catches Ms. Carter's eye. The teacher offers a sympathetic nod, but Emily looks away, her cheeks burning. Karen, clutching her phone, starts dialing, her voice loud enough for all to hear. "I'm speaking to the principal about this. You're done here. She's so focused on her call that she doesn't notice Mark's faint smile, a flicker of irony that only Ms. Carter catches. He knows the principal isn't coming, because he's already here, but he lets Karen dig deeper, her entitlement blinding her to the trap she's set for herself. The walkie-talkie crackles with a response. Security en route, 2 minutes. Mark clips it back to his belt, his eyes locked on Karen. Last chance, he says. Walk away. Karen laughs, a sharp, brittle sound. You're the one who's finished, not me. The crowd holds its breath, phones still recording, ex-posts spreading like wildfire. The hallway with its gleaming tiles and familiar props is no longer just a passageway. It's a stage, and Karen's performance is about to hit its peak. Karen thought she was winning, but the truth was about to hit her hard. When Mark revealed who he really was, Karen's jaw dropped. The main hallway of Lincoln High School is electric at 8:30 a.m., the crowd now a tight knot of students, parents, and staff, their phones capturing every second of Karen Mitchell's meltdown. The wet floor. Sign looms near Mark Johnson's mop and bucket, the tiles still slick under the fluorescent glare. Security cameras hum overhead, their lenses fixed on the scene. Karen, clutching her phone mid-dial, stands defiant, certain she's about to summon the principal to crush the janitor she just slapped. She's unaware that the man in the gray uniform, his cheek still red from her hand, is about to flip her world upside down. Mark, his patience now a thin veneer over steely resolve, unclips his walkie-talkie and sets it on the bucket's edge. The crowd quiets, sensing a shift. He reaches up, removes his janitor cap, and runs a hand through his salt and pepper buzz cut. I'm Principal Mark Johnson, he says, his voice clear and commanding, carrying the weight of his army days. And you, Ms. Mitchell, just assaulted a school employee. The hallway erupts in gasps, students whispering furiously. Jamal, still recording, zooms in, muttering, "No way." Karen's phone slips from her hand, clattering to the floor. Her face drains of color, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. I didn't know. She stammers, her earlier bravado crumbling. I'm so sorry, I thought. Mark cuts her off, his tone firm but not cruel. It doesn't matter what you thought. Under Ohio law, assault is a serious offense, cites Ohio Revised Code 2290313. His voice steady. Misdemeanor assault carries up to 6 months in jail or a $100 and fine. You don't get to hit someone because you're having a bad day. The crowd murmurs, some students cheering quietly, others nodding in approval. Emily, Karen's daughter, shrinks further into the crowd, tears welling as Ms. Carter places a gentle hand on her shoulder. Karen's eyes dart around, seeking an escape, but the crowd stares pin her in place. It was a mistake, she pleads, her voice cracking. I'll apologize, Mark raises a hand, silencing her. You had your chance to walk away. He picks up his walkie-talkie and speaks into it. Main office, contact local PD. We have an assault in the main hallway. The crackle of the response. Police dispatched, ETA 15 minutes. Sends a ripple through the crowd. Karen's knees wobble and she grips her purse like a lifeline. Students keep filming, their videos already spreading on X, the hashtag #FayPrincipalInDisguise trending locally. Ms. Carter, standing near Emily, secures Karen's dropped phone and tucks it into her own pocket, whispering to the girl, I'll make sure your aunt gets this. Emily nods, her face a mask of humiliation. John, the flannel-clad parent, shakes his head, muttering, she brought this on herself. The mop and bucket, untouched since the slap, stand as silent witnesses. The wet floor. Sign now a mocking symbol of Karen's misstep. Within 15 minutes, 2 police officers arrive, their radios crackling as they navigate the crowded hallway. Mark greets them, explaining the incident with military precision. She struck me while I was cleaning, he says, gesturing to his cheek. Multiple witnesses and security footage confirm it. The officers nod, reviewing footage on a tablet provided by the school's security team. Student videos, now circulating online, corroborate the story. Karen, her voice trembling, tries to explain. I didn't know he was the principal. It was an accident. The lead officer, a stern woman with a notepad, shakes her head. Ma'am, assault doesn't depend on his job title. You're under arrest. Crowd parts as the officers cuff Karen, her wrists trembling. She drops her purse and Miss Carter scoops it up, promising Emily it'll be safe for a relative to claim. Students cheer as Karen is led out, some chanting. Karen, Emily, escorted by a counselor, is ushered to a quiet office, her head bowed. The hallway buzzes with excitement, the mop, bucket, and signs still in place, now relics of a showdown no one will forget. Mark exhales, his principal's authority fully restored. He addresses the crowd briefly. Let's get back to class. We've got a school to run. The students disperse, still buzzing, their phones pinging with X notifications. Ms. Carter hands Mark a water bottle, her eyes twinkling. You played that perfectly, she says. He shrugs, a faint smile breaking through. She did most of the work. Karen's arrest was just the beginning. Her reputation was about to take a bigger hit. Karen's slap didn't just sting Mark. It sparked a firestorm online and in our town. By noon on that chaotic Monday, the main hallway of Lincoln High School has returned to its usual rhythm. The wet floor sign stowed away, the mop and bucket back in the custodial closet. But the echoes of Karen Mitchell's outburst linger, amplified by the digital age. Jamal's ex-post, a grainy clip of Karen slapping Principal Mark Johnson, has exploded, racking up thousands of views and retweets. Hashtags like "per-principal in disguise" and "5 Karen schooled" trend locally, with users piling on memes and reaction GIFs. A BuzzFeed article entitled "Parent Slaps Janitor, Instantly Regrets It" quotes the viral clip, praising Mark's undercover tactic as genius leadership. Local news vans park outside the school, their reporters interviewing students who gleefully recount the showdown. Mark, now back in his principal's office, his janitor uniform swapped for a blazer, fields calls from the school board and media. He's calm but firm, emphasizing respect over spectacle. It's not about catching people, he tells a reporter. It's about understanding our school from every angle. His approach earns nods of approval online, with ex-users calling him a real one and the principal we all need. The security footage leaked to a local news outlet shows the slap in crisp detail. The mop, bucket, and wet floor sign framing the moment Karen's hand met Mark's cheek. The clip loops on evening broadcasts, cementing her infamy. The community rallies around Mark with fierce loyalty. By Tuesday, the PTA launches a Respect All Staff campaign, distributing wristbands and posters that read, "From janitors to teachers, we're one team." Parents drop off thank you notes and coffee gift cards for Mark and the custodial staff. Students, inspired by the incident, start a petition for Mark to do more undercover stints, calling them epic. The school board issues a statement commending Mark's leadership, and principals from neighboring districts reach out, curious about adopting similar programs. One ex-user sums it up: "This guy's out here playing 4D chess while Karens play checkers." For Karen, the fallout is brutal. Identified online as a local real estate agent, her face is plastered across X and local Facebook groups dubbed "Slap Happy Karen." Her employer, a prominent realty firm, suspends her pending an internal review, citing conduct unbecoming. Karen posts a tearful apology video on X, her bun unraveling as she pleads, "I made a mistake. I'm not that person." The response is merciless. Comments range from "Too late Karen" to "Jeffs of cartoon villains." Her online profiles are flooded with one-star reviews, and a parody account, Kai Slappy Kerno, gains traction with snarky reenactments. The purse she left behind, retrieved by Emily's aunt, becomes a meme captioned, "Karen's bag of regrets." Legally, Karen's troubles mount. The misdemeanor assault charge under Ohio Revised Code 2903 carries a potential $13,000 fine and community service. She's banned from Lincoln High's campus for a year, a decision Mark enforces to protect staff and students. Emily, mortified by the public shaming, transfers to a nearby school, her counselor arranging a quiet exit to shield her from gossip. The hallway incident, now a legend, is recounted in classrooms and coffee shops, with the security footage serving as a cautionary tale. One student posts on X, "That mop bucket deserves an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor." The viral storm shows no signs of slowing. National outlets pick up the story, framing it as a clash of entitlement versus humility. A late night host cracks, "Karen thought she was slapping a janitor, but she really slapped her own reputation." The school's X account, usually reserved for sports scores and snow days, gains followers as users praise its culture of respect. Mark, ever humble, redirects the attention to his staff, hosting a custodial appreciation day where students serve lunch to the cleaning crew. Karen's life, once defined by open houses and client lunches, is now a cautionary tale trending across platforms. The hallway, with its gleaming tiles and unassuming props, remains the backdrop of her downfall, a place where a single moment of arrogance met a community's strength. Karen learned the hard way: entitlement doesn't survive in a school built on respect. Weeks after the hallway showdown at Lincoln High School, the dust has settled, but the lessons linger. The main hallway, once the stage for Karen Mitchell's infamous slap, is back to its daily grind: students rushing, lockers clanging, and the occasional wet floor sign making a cameo. The mop and bucket, now school legends, are stored in the custodial closet, but their role in the saga is etched into Lincoln High's lore. The security cameras still watch, silent sentinels of a moment that changed the school forever. Karen's day in court comes swiftly. In a small Ohio courtroom, she pleads guilty to misdemeanor assault under Ohio Revised Code 290313. The judge, unimpressed by her tearful plea, hands down a $750 fine and 50 hours of community service, an ironic twist, as she's assigned to clean facilities at a nearby community center, scrubbing floors under supervision. She's banned from Lincoln High's campus for 2 years, a ruling Mark Johnson, the principal, supports to ensure a safe environment. Karen, once a polished real estate agent, leaves the courtroom with her head bowed, her reputation in tatters. Her ex-apology, buried under a deluge of current-schooled memes, is a faint echo of her former confidence. Emily, her daughter, settles into her new school, finding solace in a fresh start away from the whispers. Lincoln High, meanwhile, emerges stronger. Mark, ever the hands-on leader, continues his undercover stints as a janitor, now with a playful nod from students who call him Janitor Boss. The staff and community embrace his approach, with custodians reporting more thank yous and fewer complaints. The PTA's Respect All Staff campaign gains traction, inspiring a district-wide policy mandating respect for every employee, from bus drivers to principals. Lincoln High earns a national shout-out in an education journal, hailed as a model of community and accountability. The hallway incident, captured in that viral security footage, becomes a teaching tool in staff trainings, a reminder that every job matters. The moral of the story resonates far beyond Ohio. Karen's slap wasn't just a personal failure. It was a clash with a universal truth. Respect isn't optional, no matter who's holding the mop. Mark's disguise revealed more than a principal's dedication. It showed a community's strength when entitlement meets justice. On X, users still share the clip, now a cultural touchstone, with comments like, "Never mess with someone doing their job." The story strikes a chord with anyone who's seen arrogance undone by humility, reinforcing values of fairness and leadership. Loved this tale of justice? Hit like, share with friends, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. In a school where every job counts, one Karen's mistake only strengthened our resolve.